Hello there and welcome back to Empowerment Junction. I'm your host Olivia Bassi, and I want to start by saying I'm so glad you're here joining me today. I see you, I hear your desire for growth and inspiration, and I am absolutely here with you on this journey. This is where you get empowered, enlightened, and energized because we are about to dive into discussions that will spark your potential and ignite your spirit. Empowerment Junction is your go-to space where we explore what it means to grow through what we go through. Now, I want to start by saying a heartfelt thank you to everyone who tuned in into our recent episodes on debunking the lies. Now, this was series broken into 4 parts, and I shared some deeply personal truths and your messages, some questions and words of encouragement have meant the world. Thank you so much. And this podcast is growing because of you, and I really see you, I truly do. So thank you once again from the bottom of my heart. Now, today's episode is especially close to my heart because it was inspired by one of our listeners, Shade. Shade, thank you for your honesty and courage in bringing forward this important topic. How do you bounce back from a personal crisis? That was Shade's question. Now maybe, just maybe, you're going through something right now. Could be the loss of a loved one, a health scare, a breakout, burnout, or that overwhelming feeling of everything falling apart. Crises shake us. I've had many, and they shake you. But they don't have to break us, no. Today, we'll talk about how to find your footing again, even when the ground feels like it's crumbled beneath you. And as we are about to step into July, I want to take a moment to wish a happy birthday to all my July listeners. I hope this month brings you peace, strength, and unexpected moments of joy. And now just a quick note. Now, many of you have been asking about guest appearances, some even coaching opportunities. While I'm incredibly honored by your interest, I've received many emails. And it's not that I've ignored them. I just want to be transparent. I'm currently a one-woman team managing the show, the edits, the socials, and the content planning. Now, I'm not taking on new guests, bookings, or clients just yet. But I will get back to every message, and I'm building new systems to support this beautiful and growing community, including a refreshed social media strategy for YouTube, TikTok, and Instagram. And some of you obviously have noticed the videos on YouTube are not as often as I wanted them to be. It's because obviously the time that I have to take to do the editing, I have to do the marketing, it's a lot of time. And I've been focused on creating content that's enriching, content that's going to inspire you, and content that's going to keep you curious. So sometimes it just takes a lot of time. So maybe I'm going back to relook at my marketing strategy and my social media strategy. So please bear with me. As I told you, this is a long-term project. So yes, many curveballs, many opportunities to learn. I'm a big learner, and I'm always open to learning. So if you've got any tips, please do share them with me. But point is, bear with me, and thank you for the patience, love, and support you continue to give. Thank you so much. All right then, let's dive into today's conversation. So welcome back to Empowerment Junction. As I said, I'm Olivia Bassi, your host, and today we're digging into how to bounce back from a crisis or when life blindsides us. Now, this conversation is dedicated to Sade and to anyone who's ever felt like life knocked them off their feet. Now, to help guide us, I'm drawing from the insights of the incredible Judy Smith. Now, Judy Smith is one of the world's top crisis managers. If the name sounds familiar, it's because the character Olivia Pope from the hit show Scandal was based on her. Judy has handled some of the most high-profile cases or crises in the public eye, from politics to celebrity scandals. And her wisdom isn't just for the headlines, it's for all of us. Her book, which I've got a copy of, Good Self, Bad Self, How to Bounce Back from a Personal Crisis, is full of grounded, practical strategies. And today, I want to share some of those with you. Now, I'll start by asking this, and I really want you to be honest when I'm saying this. Have you ever looked back and thought, why did I do that? Or, that didn't even feel like me? Now, in her book, Judy Smith reminds us that we all carry two sides within us. Our good self, the one that's grounded, wise, kind, resilient, and our bad self, the part that shows up in fear, ego, denial, or insecurity. Now, neither side makes us bad people, they just make us human. The key is learning to recognize which self is in the driver's seat, especially during a crisis. Now, in her book, Judy has identified or has listed 7 traits that shape our reactions, which I really like because I find that once you identify which one is at play, you know which course of action to take. Now, she identifies these 7 traits that often rise up during crises. The first one, everybody has got it. Ego. The ego. E-G-O. Now, I feel each of these traits, particularly the ego, in the right context, can be incredibly powerful. As an example, confidence from a healthy ego can help you take charge. Very important, very, very key. Now, at its core, ego is our sense of self-importance and self-esteem. Now, in a healthy balance, it can provide confidence and drive. Healthy balance. However, when unchecked, it can lead to defensiveness and an unwillingness to admit mistakes or a resistance to seeking help. Now, think of it as a double-edged sword. It can empower you to lead, but it can also blind you to take alternative perspectives. The second trait that she lists is denial. Now, this is the act of refusing to acknowledge a difficult reality or truth. And personally, I think a lot of us, me included, and I'm not judging anybody, but this, as I say, this is an open platform for you to reassess whether you are in this category. I've been here so many times where I was in denial of the reality. when I'm saying as an example is a lot of people, particularly because of social media, for what it's worth, it's a great platform. But come back to your reality. A lot of us want fantasy. We want this fantasy world because it looks nice on social media. Of course it does. Everybody paints their perfect picture or their perfect side on social media. But my question to you, what's inside you? What is really going on inside? I won't offer any further there. But anyway, back to denial. While a temporary state of denial might offer a brief reprieve from overwhelming information, prolonged denial can prevent us from addressing problems effectively and making necessary changes. So if this is you, by all means, re-examine, go to that mirror. Next to it, fear, a fundamental human emotion. I've already spoken about fear. Fear is our response to perceived threats. It can serve as a vital warning system, prompting us to exercise caution. But when fear becomes overwhelming or irrational, it can paralyze us, leading to inaction or poor decision making. Next to it, that Judy mentioned, is ambition. Now, this is the strong desire to achieve something, often involving hard work and determination. Healthy ambition fuels progress and innovation. However, unchecked ambition can lead to ruthlessness, burnout, or a willingness to compromise one's values to reach a potential. Very key. Next trait, accommodation. Now, this trait refers to our willingness to adapt or conform to the needs or wishes of others. Being accommodating can foster harmony and strong relationships. Yet, if it consistently comes at the expense of our own well-being, boundaries, or needs, it can lead to resentment, exhaustion, and burnout. We've talked about this. We had an episode in our season 1 where we talked about people pleasing. This is exactly what it is. Next trait, patience. The capacity to accept or tolerate delay, problems, or suffering without becoming annoyed or anxious. Patience is a virtue that allows us to persevere through challenges and wait for the right moment. But excessive patience when action is required can lead to stagnation or missed opportunities. And the last trait is indulgence. This is the act of allowing oneself to enjoy the pleasure of something, often to excessive degree. While self-care and enjoyment are crucial, overindulgence can lead to procrastination, neglecting responsibilities, or detrimental long-term consequences. Now, in summary, each of these traits in the right context can be incredibly helpful. Confidence from a healthy ego can help you take charge. A touch of denial might offer a moment to take breath before facing a harsh truth. Fear can keep you safe. Ambition drives innovation. Accommodation builds bridges. Patience allows for strategic waiting, and indulgence can be a form of self-care. But when any of these become out of balance, they can absolutely derail us. We know that. So it's important to identify those traits and importance to find that balance. For example, while a strong ego might give you the confidence to lead, if it goes unchecked, it can make you incredibly defensive or unwilling to seek the help you truly need. Similarly, being there for others, driven by accommodation, it's a beautiful quality, obviously, but if it consistently comes at the expense of your own well-being, it will inevitably, lead to exhaustion and burnout. Go to the previous episodes. We've spoken about this many times. I hope this is sort of helping, particularly Shade, because you asked about this. I mean, we've talked about exactly what's going on, but you know what I mean. As you reflect on your own experiences, especially during challenging times, I invite you to ask yourself this: which of these traits has been showing up most prominently in me lately? And how is it shaping my decision and my path forward? Understanding these dynamics is the first step towards mastering them. What trait resonates most with you today? Very important. Now, here is what Judy gives us, something really tangible. She talks about a power approach. For me, when I picture Judy, I see Olivia Pope strutting down, nicely dressed. And by the way, I think it's important to bring this here. When you're facing a personal crisis, or when you're dealing with a crisis, I urge you to get up and get dressed. Get dressed and dress the parts. Dress the parts. If you're a female, if you're a woman, please. I don't want to tell you that a little bit of decorum is absolutely necessary. Your self-care, looking after yourself, putting a bit of makeup, a bit of glam. Why some heels? I don't want to share too much about what I do, but I know I've had many conversations with people during COVID time when I used to sit in the house with my heels when I've got to write a report, because that's how I'll be able to function. But that's just me. So you gotta do what works for you. In fact, personally, whenever I'm facing a crisis, working out is important. Go for a run, go for a swim, whatever. Go for a walk. Come back. Get showered. And then put on some makeup, put on some heels and dress up. And then now start thinking, because you're thinking from a place of power. You're thinking from a good space. If you sit there in your glad rags, I don't know. I just don't know how people do it. But for me, I've got to dress up. I like dressing up. When I've got a crisis, I've got to dress up. I see Olivia Pope and I'm thinking, yes, that's how you would handle a crisis. So that's what I do. So I'd urge you, please, put on your makeup. Get dressed up. Don't just sit there in your PJs and thinking you're going to sort of that. No. Think about those traits that I've just listed, those 7 traits. How are you going to handle denial or fear or ambition when you sat there in your PJs? No. Get dressed up. It works wonders. Or it does for me anyway. I'm just sharing my own personal opinion. But I think, please, decorum is important. It's important. The saying that when people meet you, they judge you by how you present yourself. That goes without saying. That also really, it works in other ways. It works wonders. So dress up. Now, I'll stop deviating. Back to Judy's tangible, because she gives us some really tangible tools to reset. Now, she calls it the power approach. So power, P is for pinpoint the core trait at play. So out of those 7 traits, pinpoint it, number 1. And then the O, out of power, is own it without shame. Own it. If it's that ego that's at the forefront and it's not helping you, it's deterring you, own it. And think, okay, I need to put my ego in check. Oh, maybe I'm too accommodating. And then the W, out of the power, work it through, reflect and explore. Reflection can be going for that walk to understand, talking to somebody to understand what's going on here. And then the E is explore it. What happens if this trait keeps running the show? That's the tough question. What happens if I'm always in denial? I'm constantly in denial. Everybody else seems to be getting up and doing it, but I'm constantly in denial. I'm always a victim. And this is not, forgive me, this is not to judge anybody, because I know some people, there's always something. And when there's always something, they don't stop to ask themselves, what is going on with other people? Because everybody's got something, but we still get up and we still move on. Now the R is rein it in. So that's the power approach. Choose one small step today to bring balance. Now I'll give you my own example. Right, so there was a time when fear kept me from speaking up about something that truly mattered at my workplace. The many stories I've already shared about workplaces. Now I pinpointed it, owned it, and realized I was afraid of being judged. Like many people do, we're always afraid of being judged. Because there's always a judge somewhere. There's always somebody ready to point the finger and say, how dare you? Who she thinks she is? And all the other extra naysayers. The naysayers are always ready. But that's the beauty of this podcast. Because we're not here to worry about naysayers. We're here to live our best life. Because we hold the pen that writes the chapters of your life. So here we go. But staying silent meant nothing would change. As one of my favorite poets, Audre Lorde, says, your silence will not protect you. It will not. I've already given you the example. Particularly for the black women, when you go to the doctors and they suggest something. I'll give you my own personal example where I could have stayed silent and just said, yeah, carry on, I'll sign it and we'll. Yeah, no, don't stay silent. Speak up. I spoke up. Nervous I was, yes, but free. Speak your truth. That's the power of it. And that's why I'm saying that's the power approach in action. And that's what Judy's talking about. Use that approach. Think about power. Think about P for pinpoint, O for own it, W for work it through, E for explore it, R for rein it in. Choose one small step today to bring balance. That's where you start. Once you identify the traits. Now the next bit. I'm not saying this easily because I know a lot of us are still living in fantasy. We want to live a fantasy world, but reality is what we need. Reality is what we need. Embrace your vulnerability. Embrace who you are. It's not a weakness, it's a power. It's powerful. In a world that tells us to keep it together, it's radical to say, I'm not okay. But that's where healing starts. Yes, vulnerability is not a flaw. It's a superpower. When you let someone in, when you allow yourself to be seen, you create space for connection, support, and growth. Before I even say more, go back and listen to that story where I talked about how to handle rejection. The story of Maya Angelou. Her poetry, the pose and the prose and how she became so elegant is because she embraced her vulnerability. Next important part, lean on your people. Lean on your people. And when I say people, it doesn't have to be someone you're related to. No. Find the person who's for you. You do not have to go through it alone, but you've got to find the right people for you. Who are the safe people in your life? Some of you have amazing friends. You really have amazing friends. You know, the friends who are just, they're there for you. They never spread any lies about you to other people. Those are your true friends. A mentor, a sibling, an online community. Reach out. Shade did. I speak to Shade. People who are going to keep your information confidential, not spread out to the whole world of what's going on in your life. Reach out, ask for help. Say yes when help is offered. You are not a burden. You're a human being navigating something hard, and that deserves compassion. Now, this is the moment where I'd really encourage you to go and watch Scandal again. The way Olivia Pope's just handled it. It's the way she goes, it's handled. But remember, it's only going to be handled if your decorum is on. You've got to be on point. You've got to be on check. You've got to feel it. To get to that power approach, you've got to feel it. That's why that show is really good, to really spring you up, to get you out, to get you back. Because as I say, the way Les Brown says, when life knocks you down, if you can look up, you can get up. And then you can say it's handled, like Olivia Pope. Now, the next one, set realistic goals and honor your values. I'm not saying this lightly. Everybody's got their own standards. Your values are not my values. Who knows what your values are? Healing isn't linear. It's not a straight line, please. It's not about bouncing back overnight. Yes, I like saying it, when life knocks you down, if you can look up, you can get up. But, this is a journey. It's not a destination. There's no end to it. Even, let me give you a prominent example. Michelle Obama, one of the most amazing first ladies in America. Even when you read her books from where she's come from, she says she's still becoming. So us, in just our normal self, yes, we've got so much. It's a destination. It's not a destination. It's a never ending. It's a journey. It's a journey. She's still becoming. Despite sitting in the most powerful house in the world, she's still becoming. So you don't put an ending thing, say by next year I want to be healed. And let me tell you something. The way I see it, because this is conversations I've had with God. When I say God, but you say this, and God is telling me, but since you were born, I'm now in my 40s. I don't want to say too much about my age, but anyway, this is the conversations I have with God. God will tell me, since you were born, somebody's been in your life manipulating it and doing all sorts of spiritual things. Now you're in your 40s. You've got to know me a little bit better. I'm getting to understand you. You get to know. I used to know you, but you didn't have time for me. Now you are asking me. You're telling me that you want to be healed in 2 years, since you've got closer to me in the past 2 years. Yet this has been happening to you over 40 years. Let's be realistic now. If something happened to you from the time you were little, if you faced a trauma from the time you were a baby, and now in your 40s, and now you've realized that you need to do something about it, it's not going to happen overnight. No. There's no destiny. This is a journey. It's a long journey. And those are the conversations I have with God when God tells me, calm down. Olivia, calm down. Sit your bottom down. Sit your bottom down and just calm down. And just wait for my call. Be patient with me. Be patient. And then I think, okay. And then little by little, I can see results. Little by little, I can see. He's molding me. He's molding me to this shape. He's breaking down the old bricks and molding me to this beautiful human being that I'm becoming. Anyway, so my point is, healing isn't linear. It's not about bouncing back overnight. It's about building a new rhythm. Slowly, gently, intentionally. Think of that conversation. If you believe in God, if you're a believer, the conversation you're having with God, God will tell you, chill out. I'm working a marvelous thing behind the scenes. You don't see it. So, point is, set tiny goals, celebrate small wins, and most of all, act in alignment with your values. And that's why I bring God in. When your actions reflect who you truly are, you rebuild trust with yourself. And that is the most powerful thing, because I've already told you, there's many things people will do to you, but they can never take the beautiful light that comes from you. They can never dim that. Once you know who you are, and most important, whose you are, it doesn't matter what nonsense people will try and throw your way, what type of rubbish, you will still stand there thinking, okay, whatever. Anyway, back to the point. Next one, apologize, learn, evolve. Sometimes bouncing back includes facing mistakes, going back, maybe apologizing to others or even to yourself. I've already told you a best way to start with this. For example, people might have offended you. Write a letter to them, even if you don't intend to send it. Write a letter and send it to the world. Say you did X, Y, and Z to me and I'm very upset. Let it go. Let it go. Stop harboring people's dirty laundry in your headspace, please, because it's their dirty laundry, really. Don't harbor it. Just say, and sometimes you have to circle back and go and apologize to those people. Just say a true apology is about taking responsibility. And that's what Judy really emphasizes here. Take responsibility, not making excuse, and that is really courageous. It opens the door to real transformation. So ask yourself these 3 questions. Number 1, what have I learned about myself through this? Number 2, how have I grown? Number 3, what will I do differently next time? Yes. And what I want to emphasize is, I want you to ask yourself, out of Judy's 7 traits, which one do you recognize in yourself right now? Which one? And next thing, what one small step can you take to bring it into balance? Think about it. And next one, really recommend that you reflect, you journal, or if you feel comfortable, send me a message, email, or leave a comment. I do love hearing your stories. They remind me why I do this, so please do that. And to sum up, here's a question for you. How do you bounce back from a personal crisis? Number 1, not by pretending it didn't hurt. No, acknowledge the pain. 2, not by rushing the healing. Don't rush the healing. No, it's not gonna be. If a trauma has happened for the past 10 years, you're not gonna quickly, even a year. It will take time. 3, and definitely not by walking the journey alone. You bounce back by honoring your pain, giving yourself grace, and taking one small step, even a shaky one, in the direction of healing. Now you remember that breakdown can be the beginning of a breakthrough. Totally. Think about powerful stories such as J.K. Rowling's. Her breakdown was the beginning of a breakthrough. And many others, that even when life knocks the wind out of you, you still have breath. That's most important. You still have purpose. And just when the caterpillar thought the world was over, it became a butterfly. Yes. Now let that be your reminder. Your story isn't over. And to Sade, thank you once again for your courage in bringing this episode to life. And to every listener, whether you are in the storm or rebuilding from it, I see you and I'm with you. If this episode resonated, please share it with someone who may need it. Tag me, message me, or simply send it to a friend. And until next time, remember every setback is a setup for a comeback, because you hold the pen that writes the chapter of your life. My name is Olivia Bassi. Peace, love, and blessings. Bye for now.